Good morning, everyone. I'm going to talk to you today about the working paper application, and I'm doing it outside of Nearpod because of all the trouble we're having with Nearpod. So just bear with me as I try to present this topic to you as if it were a Nearpod, but just in a video on its own. So these are the working papers for 14 and 15-year-olds. They are, you can see where it says 14 and 15 years of age. It's put out by New York State. And you use these as a way of showing that you are eligible to work in the state of New York. And we're going to talk about how to get this blue card during the presentation today. Okay, so how to get them, the first step is the application. Okay, the physical application itself is a single page. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second. And then you need a letter from your doctor from a recent physical, and this could be the last 12 months. I'm going to explain every part of this in just a minute. You need proof of age, and you need a social security card. Okay, so let's talk about the application itself. So there's 4 parts to this, and you guys are going to do this in January. Okay, so this is what the application looks like. It's a PDF here, and it's long and it's really annoying because it's actually really small type. But you actually only have to fill out certain parts of it, and I'm going to show you what parts that is. So you only have to fill out your name, your age, your date, right? And your age should be at least 14. You put your home address here, again, very annoying because it's very small. And then you check this box that says non-factory employment, right? You're only eligible for employment outside of a factory because you're 14 and 15. You can work in other jobs when you're 16 and 17. So when you fill this form out again, when you're 16 or 17, you would check another employment option here. And then the biggest thing is that your parent signs this. So this is like one of the easiest parts of the application is just like you filling this out and your parent signing it. The other parts are a little bit more annoying to figure out. The second one is a note from a doctor. Okay, so these are forms that your doctor can fill out when you ask them for these forms. Okay, so when you have a physical is when you go in and they check your heart, they might do an eye test, they ask your parents questions about your health. So if you've had one of those visits in the last year, so by January, if you've had any from the previous January, that counts as like recent. So what you're going to do is your parent will contact your pediatrician and ask them for this form. And the form is all we need. We just need a form from your most recent physical. Okay. If you don't have a physical in the last year, then you need to start telling your parents that you need a physical. Right, so between now and January, you need to have a physical so that you can use it for the working paper application. So start preparing in your mind. If you haven't had one in the last year, you need to start doing it in the next 2 to 3 months. Okay, and this is what the form looks like. It says child and adolescent health form. I actually get these forms anytime my son needs them for school. I actually have to like present it to his elementary school when he goes to school. There's a little tiny box on here that says like well child, and that is what we look for the working papers. So when you ask for it, sometimes the doctor will give it to you as you leave the appointment, but other times you have to ask for it. So your parent might have to call a pediatrician and say, I need the health examination form for my son or daughter. And then it takes maybe up to a week to prepare that. But as soon as you get that, I will take that in. So if you even have that tomorrow, I will take that tomorrow or Monday. I will take that on Monday and we can just check that off as part of your requirement. But you need it by January so that you can put it as part of your working paper application. Okay, the second requirement you need, or the third requirement rather, is the proof of age. So you have to show that you're 14, and you have to do this by using some form of state or federal ID. All right, so here's some acceptable forms of age. You can have a birth certificate. It can be a copy of a birth certificate, even if it's a birth certificate from another country. Okay, if you are a naturalized citizen from another country or you have a green card, you're allowed to work in the United States. You need to have a birth certificate that identifies what your age is, and you have to be at least 14 to get the working certificate. So you bring in a copy of your birth certificate, or you could bring in a copy of your passport. I noticed there's 2 P's here, so I have to correct that spelling error, but you could do a passport. Even if it's expired, you can use that for verification of your age. So you don't have to bring in the whole passport, you can just bring in a copy of it, or you could bring in the real versions of these documents, and we will take a copy of it and then send you back with your document, and we'll just keep the copy. Some students have a New York State ID. I noticed the other day a student opened his wallet and he had a New York State ID, so you can also use that. You cannot use the Gateway ID because that is not like, a state level ID or a federal level ID. It's only a school level ID. But these are some documents that you can use to show proof of age. Okay, usually people bring in a birth certificate. All right, and finally, the last proof is your social security card. So this is a card that is it's like the most secure card that you have. Your ID is one level of security, but the social security is like beyond, because this number, the social security number, is incredibly important to keep private. You don't want to be giving this number to everybody, okay? You are giving it to me so that I can store it securely for you. You're not giving me the card, you're going to give me a copy of your social security card. You can't just give me the number, you have to give me a copy of the card. I will store it securely. I keep it in a locked cabinet. And then when it transfers to Miss James, our school secretary, who does the working paper applications for students, she also keeps it in a locked cabinet. This is a point where a lot of parents get worried because if they've never gone through the working paper application before, they're going to ask you why your tech teacher needs your social security card. And the reason why is because remember, we are mandated by the state to prepare you for work. And one of the things we can prepare you for work, how we can do that, is to help you apply for your working paper application. And you need this because it shows that you can legally work in the United States. So you need this to do that. And this, by the way, you giving your copy of your social security card to me is more secure than you giving it to just anybody who asks for it. Like, they say, oh, I have a job for you, and you give your social security card. That is not secure. So when you give it to the school, that's seen as more secure than if you give it to just someone who's pretending they might have a job for you. So that is what is important to understand, is that the school is acting as like a middleman for you in this regard so that you can keep your document more secure. Okay. And I've been doing this for many, many years, and I always am very, very careful with the copies of your social security card. So we are going to, having a little difficulty here. You're going to watch a quick video that explains what a social security card is, and why it's so important.